She entered his mansion for the first time, and it was dark, just like his soul. The man whom she assumed a driver bored and left her eyes met his, who was sitting on the lounge. He looked like a king, and he definitely was, staring at Saul with his penetrating gaze. Sometimes eyes touches more than hand could ever do. Come closer to me, pretty eyes, he spoke in fluent Italian. Hesitantly, she took a seat far away from him and he chuckled at her action. The way he calls her might makes her feel like he owns her damn self. Come on, baby girl, don't act that way. You are brave, he smiled. Brave enough to file a case against me, aren't you? Wine chewed her lips hardly. Her whole body was shaking. Don't bite your lips. You don't have the right anymore, Jungkook commanded in his soft voice, and Wine stood up. Oh, you must be wondering why I called you here. It's my birthday. Jungkook smiled and Wine could swear even his smile was scary. I saw you playing piano many times. Would you please play for me for my special day, pretty eyes? He showed her the way to piano. Wine's finger trembled against the key. She was playing the birthday theme. She gulped when she felt his presence behind her. His fingers hovering over her, following her lead. Every now and then he dipped his face in her group of milk, inhaling it, licking it. Stop, her voice warbled. No, I can't. Damn, I can't, he whispered, his voice intoxicated. She bit her lips to stop trembling. It was a wrong move. A shriek left her mouth when he grabbed a fistful of her hair, arching her neck backwards to his ravenous gaze. His grip wasn't that tight, but a little painful. I don't like to repeat myself twice, pretty eyes. Jungkook's face hovered over hers. You're such a bad idiot. When I asked what do I want as a birthday gift, she blinked her eyes. Her entire self was frozen, witnessing the insanity in his twinkling eyes. Jungkook's lips inches apart from her when he whispered. The moment his hungry lips landed on hers, she knew there was no going back. She was stuck with him. Flashback. A 13-year-old boy walked to the trash can to get the burger he saw a man dumping earlier. His clothes were torn and dirty. He was hungry from days in a country he didn't belong to. It's been 2 weeks since he landed in this country with his mother after the tragic pass of his father. His mother was offered a job here, but the man who promised her the job was a bastard. He sold his mother. The little boy screamed and fought with the people double of his age, but couldn't protect his mother. He spent days and nights on road, empty stomach without any blanket or warmth on this chilly weather, protected himself from stray dogs and rains, watching people passing by but not a single person stopped for him, even after watching his condition. He learned one thing: the world is cruel. He picked the burger, even though it smelled horrible, it looked appetizing to him. Just as he was about to take his first bite, a man bumped on him, causing the burger to fall on the dirty water of the alley. The man didn't even apologize and ran further in the dark alley, hiding himself behind another glass trash can. The boy looked down at the burger, which was drenched in the dirty drain water. "Hey, you little kid." His head snapped to the people who entered the alley dressed in black attire. "Did you see a man here?" He couldn't understand their language but still pointed at the trash can. The hidden man screamed when he was found out, and he was beaten into pulp. One of the men took out the gun, and little boy's eyes twinkled at the sight. The man was about to pull the trigger when the little boy reached behind him. The boy knew they couldn't understand his language, so he extended his palm ahead. The men exchanged glances. "He wasted my food," he spoke in his native language and then pointed at the waste worker. The man chuckled at him before handing him the gun. That day, 3 gunshots were heard. He entered the alley as a boy, but exited as a man. That day, Dark Shadow was born to rule the country. Jungkook twisted his lip when the officer in front of him rolled down to the floor. He tilted his head sideways. Just then his lips lifted upward, a smile grin on his lips when he heard a gasp of shock. Someone was out there. It was a waiter. The waiter who witnessed the scene begged him for his life, and Jungkook loved it. He loves when people beg for their life. Jungkook twisted in disgust when the waiter begged him, saying he has a family to look after. Jungkook doesn't have a family, then why anyone else should have? He was enjoying the pleading when his eyes fell on the last glass wall, and they squinted. He could see the reflection of a figure, a trembling figure of a girl. So many surprises that day. He slowly stood up, and he loved the way she flinched. She knew she was playing with fire, yet made no move to run away, and it impressed him. Reaching the glass wall, he traced his finger on her face, an amusing smile dancing on his lips. He noticed that Adrian acknowledged her presence too from the reflection. Jungkook glared at him, stopping him from making any move. He slowly removed his hood, gazing her deeply while her eyes were fixed on the waiter. Jungkook smiled. Thank you for watching.